Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. He have come all the way from Delhi to Bangalore and from Bangalore to here for the 45 minutes wealth creation talk. His name is Harikesh Pandey. He's a zonal head for South Motilal Oswal AMC. We were given 45 minutes time. I hope you will give us that respect of 45 minutes to explain the product. Mr. Harikesh Pandey has 15 years of experience in financial service, and he is the best person to know all your financial queries. So I here request Mr. Harikesh Pandey to come up on the stage and continue with the program.
I request Dr. Diwakar Rao to hand over the plant to the speaker.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a sheer pleasure to be with you all today. First of all, I would like to thank Chandramohan sir for this wonderful presentation. I know it's covering so much in such a short time was a very difficult task, but you did it very beautifully, sir. Thank you so much for that. And in fact, I would go a step further in saying that we have made my task a little easier here, because you've covered certain things which clearly explains why the markets are a little wobbly today. And I would not go into more detail that, because most of the things we have covered very comprehensively. Well, I am a little bit under weather today, so please excuse me for that. But since a lot of doctors around, so I am in safe hands today. So I would say nothing to worry about. Well, Vijay has given a little difficult task to me today, because I am the only person who is standing between you and the dinner. So I'll try that it should be more interactive, and so nobody looks towards the dinner, rather than they will look towards most of the things that I'll discuss today. See, most of the time we discuss more on where we should invest, what are the things we should look at, and what are the options we should look into while investing. But very important thing is also to understand is that what we should avoid or we should not do, because that plays an equally important part in making your investment worthwhile for you in the long run. So I would be a little bit more interactive so that we can relate to the things and have better takeaways from this presentation, and so that our future investment decisions could be little better than what we are doing today. So my first question is, how many of us feel that equity investment is very complicated? Vijay did tell me outside that we have a bunch of people who are very well versed with equities and all. So that I was I got a lot of comfort out of that it would be a good discussion, and I'll have a more interactive session. So I'll repeat my question. You'll have your dinner. Don't worry today. So my question is, how many of us feel that equity investing is very complicated? No one will. See, I think, okay, I'll give an answer to is that why we most of the time feel, or you can say in certain times when we invest in equities, there are periods when we feel that it is becoming a little complicated, because it's more to do with the behavior also that we go through during the investment journey of us in equities. So like I told you that it's important to know that what you should do, but it is equally important to know that what we should avoid and not do, so that to have a better experience out of investments. So today what is happening? I mean, Nifty all-time high, P ratios expensive, waiting for correction, companies not growing and all that things which are in their mind, and we are comparing a lot of things with all these things which are happening in the market. But what we are missing is that what we used to, we are actually comparing all our investments with Nifty, because Nifty becomes a benchmark for everyone, whether it's a small cap, whether it's a mid cap, or it's a large cap investment. We try to compare everything with Nifty because it becomes easier to compare. But sometimes it's not right to do, because every space of investment has a different way of behaving, if you're in a small cap or a mid cap or a large cap. So if I have to compare these two slides, that Nifty all-time high, markets all-time high, whether I should invest, market is looking expensive. Now I should compare that whether my portfolios are all-time high today. I'm sure most of you have invested in equities and the answer would be clear, no. I'm going through a correction. My portfolios are all-time low. What should I do? I mean, Nifty is all-time high, but my portfolios are not performing. So what is important to understand is that you have not invested in a Nifty or market. You have invested in part of that market. So there are times when the right expectation, or you can say the expectation, any expectation from an investor might not get through in a similar way. What you think that it might in a particular circumstance. So today, if you see Nifty, Nifty is comprised of 50 stocks. All of us know that. And just to relate to this statement by giving a figure, in this calendar year, Nifty added 1510 points, and out of which more than 1000 points have been added by 5 companies only. So the rally that has happened in the market in recent period has been really polarized, has been really skewed towards few stocks. And it's a high probability that you are not owning all those stocks in your portfolios. And a lot of those schemes given by a lot of AMCs and including us are not having all those stocks in the similar proportion, or there is very high probability you are not having that also. So when these kinds of rally happens, it is important to understand is that why it is happening and why it is not having the right impact in our portfolio in terms of better returns. So that's what I want to tell you is that when it is a polarized rally, where it is a very skewed rally, there is high probability that you will underperform vis-a-vis the benchmark. But that is not the only way to look at it, because when you think that the Nifty at all-time high, it is also that your own portfolios are all-time lows. So this should give a much comfort to you is that in times to come there are brighter periods ahead wherein these excesses that are created over a certain period will be mean reverting towards what is happening with the portfolios. So everyone knows this. What is, I mean, it's a stupid question because the pendulum, everybody knows that how it swings. So anything that goes up has to come down towards the mean, and everything which is going down has to go up towards the mean. So it is all that in our lives, whether it is investing or any part of your life, everything is mean reverting. So wherever you feel that the excesses are getting filled, there are strong chances that it will mean revert in a different direction. Now this is what has happened, that what I was relating to. This was an interesting clip that I found in the newspaper that I wanted to show you. Just 10 stocks are holding the fort, rest have lost 23 lakh crore in a year. So on a broader market basis, I would say that there is ample opportunities to invest and gain money, make returns, because a lot of stocks are trading at their all-time lows or 20, 25, 30% lows, which are not related to the businesses that are doing well or not. See, whenever these kinds of factors that movements that happen in the market, they impact the businesses or the stocks that you hold in two ways. One is the price, and the second is the fundamentals of the business that underlying businesses that these stocks represent. So when we see that only the price is correcting and the fundamentals of the business, how do you judge the fundamentals is by how the business is growing in terms of profits, how that growth of profit is happening in the business. Because if that is happening but price is correcting, that means there is something wrong. Because a business is growing but the market is not giving right price to it, that there is something wrong with the particular situation, and that can't continue for too long. So you need to read between those things and see that what are the good companies that I am holding which are correcting in price but are actually holding fort in terms of the quality of the businesses that you have. There is another worry which we actually see in market is that once we see that we have gone through a correction and there is a comeback which is happening in the portfolio, the only thing that is in our mind is that the moment it recovers and come to the capital, I'll come back, I'll come out of it. So this is what happens. I mean, that's why I told you that there are more reason of behavior rather than anything that creates problems with our investment in the long run and making returns in the long run. And that's what I feel that it is very important to understand is that when we invest in good times, our behavior is that I'm a long-term investor. I would not look at any short-term impacts. I would ready to digest all those short-term patches of bad returns. But once that period comes, you all know that how we behave. But when we say that equity is a long-term journey and it is a long-term wealth creation tool, we have to give that respect to that long-term word, and we have to ensure that we stick to our right businesses and right portfolios so that we make the right returns in the long run. This is what we do. So like I told you, today's opinion will make today's price and tomorrow's opinion will tomorrow's price. So it is important to understand is that how, because there is hell lot of information exchange which is happening today. So every information is giving some different expectation to everyone, and how that opinion makes that whether what should I do in today's situation. So these are the two graphs which is showing is that when the market is high, we see a lot of past returns in a better way, we tend to invest more. And when markets at low and we see that there is a lot of red which is looking in the portfolio, we invest the least. So it should be the other way around. The moment we lose the patience at the wrong moment, we end up at the losing side of the story. So we try to invest or build our portfolios more when it is down and it is expected to do more in the long run, because wealth is created when you actually live through the journey of a portfolio or live through the journey of company which is growing at a particular point of time. There are a lot of good things happening. I mean, we miss out on those things in times to come, but it is important to understand is that how these particular things are impacting. We have seen a particular phase when the earnings growth have not happened in the portfolios. We have seen a phase wherein we have struggled through the earnings growth. Now, what is important to understand today is that we all use this word share. And since you all are well versed with equities, every day we use words like this portfolio has these many shares, we are buying these shares or selling these shares. Why do we call it a share? Anybody? You are buying a share in the company. That means you are owning a part of the company. So what is happening by doing that? You are agreeing to participate in the profits and losses of the company. Whether I make profit or loss, because I bought that share, so I am participating into that. Given a choice, would you like to participate in profits or losses? So can I take the liberty of saying is that when you know that you are buying a share and everybody would like to participate in profits, it is always advisable to participate in companies who are expected to make profits in future or grow profits in future. Because by saying that I want to invest in a loss making proposition, what I am trying to say is that I would like to participate in losses, and at the end I will also make losses in my portfolios. So it is important that when you are buying portfolios, to see those stocks in the portfolio, whether they are expected to do, how they have made profits in the past and how they are making profits today, and whether those profits will grow in future or not. So this is the statement that I wanted to tell you, which is very important to understand. Long-term price growth is equal to long-term earnings growth. So when I say earnings, by mean is the profits of the companies that the companies make over a period of time. So when I say that long-term price growth is a function of or equal to long-term price growth in the long run, so if we actually pick and choose right businesses in our portfolio which are growing continuously in terms of profit, will it be not advisable to say, or you get right to say that in the long run, if I hold those right companies which are making profits in the long run, my price will also follow that in the long term? Is it true or not? So that's what we do at our end at Motilal Oswal. When we say that Motilal Oswal is a equity research house, the focus is on identifying, the focus is not on chasing the price. The research is actually goes on to look for those companies which are expected to do better in terms of price, profit growth over a period of time, so that the price would automatically take care of it. I just share an example which will actually substantiate this particular statement, that why price growth is a function of earnings growth in the long run. This is a data about 22 years of Sensex. This is a plain Sensex where there is no intervention of fund manager in managing the portfolio. It shows that there are different times when price have reacted in an exaggerated upside or the downside. And on one side of the column, there are Sensex values from 1995 to 2016. On the other side, the EPS of corresponding year from 95 to 2000. What it's saying is that the Sensex is 3261 in 95. The EPS, which is earning per share of those companies in the Sensex, was 181 at that time. Now it is plotted for every year, and then we get a number at the end. Now look at the last two rows. Look at the last row first. What it is showing is that the CAGR growth for Sensex in 21 years is 10% in terms of price, which all the Sensex values are growing. And what is the CAGR growth for EPS? That is also 10%. Which means a plain Sensex without any intervention of any fund manager is actually supporting the argument that the price growth is a function of earnings growth in the long run. If any this is the 21 years data. If you pick and choose any 5, 6, 7 years of period, you will find the same correlation, that whatever is the earnings growth in the 5, 6 year period of particular portfolio or Sensex or Nifty or anything you want to take, the price growth would always be almost in the same range. But what is happening with the standard deviation or the volatility? the price is deviating, or you can say the volatility in the price is all more than double what is the volatility in the earnings per share. Because business earnings are not related to our sentiments or what we think or what we perceive about a particular market situation. Business grows as per what the underlying, or you can say what are the that particular company is doing in terms of their overall business volumes and what is the profitability they are making. They are not impacted by your own perceptions or our own way of thinking. But market price movements, or you can say stock price movements, is lot to do in the short run with our perception, our sentiments, our apprehensions, our euphoric reactions. This is what has happened. The classic example I'll show you, which we all can relate to, which is very recent, which is last 2008 market crash. If you say in 2009, market went down by minus 38%. What has happened to the EPS? It went down by minus 2%. Take the very next year. In 2000 March 2010 financial year ending, market went up in the very next year by 81%. What happened to the EPS growth? 2%. So in a crash, the EPS growth fell by 2%, but in a extreme euphoric comeback of the market, the EPS growth grew by 2% only. Similar ways, you will find a lot of trends where you see that the market price movements, or you can say Sensex values, are actually deviating, or you can say in a very exaggerated manner, but the earnings growth are taking its own course. So that's what I'm trying to tell is that try to hold those portfolios or those companies which are expected to do well in terms of their profits, so that you can participate in those profits in the long run. Because see, investment is an input output equation. What is in your control, input or output? If anything is an input output equation, what is in your control? Output or input? You can only control the input. So what is the input in an investment? So what kind of companies you invest in? Equity investment, what kind of companies you invest into? How those companies are expected to do well in future? How those companies have more demand visibility in future, and thereby the earning visibility in future. Once you ensure that in the portfolio, and your portfolio is delivering on the earnings growth continuously, come what may, you will get your returns in line with the earnings growth in the long run. The only problem with price growth and earnings growth is that they do not move in tandem. It will never happen that your portfolios, companies that you are holding the portfolios are growing by 20% in a particular year, your price is also growing by 20%. It is very difficult that it happens in the same way. So there would be period of lead and lag. Sometimes price comes first and earnings build over a period of time. Sometimes earning builds, keep on building, and price comes at later stage. But any period of 5-6 years, and you are holding those businesses which are growing at 20-25% on a continuously basis, rest assured that your money will also grow in the same way in the long run, in the 5-6 year period. This is also another interesting chart I want to show you. The above graph shows that if I observe Nifty movement on a daily basis, what I am seeing? A lot of ups and downs. It is showing that there is huge volatility which is happening, because I am seeing it on a daily basis. I want to check my prices on a daily basis. The same graph is observed on a 5-year basis. What do you see? An upside movement. Because the moment I look from a long-term perspective, it will look like this. This is also going in a different way, but the volatility is much lesser because I am observing it on a 5-year basis. The first chart shows that, oh, I can't bear this because it is moving up and down every day. But the next graph shows is that, I mean, there is a lot of stability and it is moving upward. Ultimately, it is moving upward only. So this is just a brief snapshot about Motilal Oswal as an AMC. As I told you that Motilal Oswal is an equity research house. So our ultimate focus and only focus is dealing with equities. So we are an equity specialist, equity focused house. Our forte lies in identifying good companies. We are a leading institutional player in the country. A lot of foreign institutional investors and domestic institutional investors take advisory from Motilal Oswal Research House in terms of investing in Indian stocks. So that speaks volume about the kind of research that Motilal Oswal's end is done, and thereby the focus is ultimately on the equity side of the story only. And today we are managing close to about 40,000 crores, all in equity, as I mentioned, because we don't deal in any debt products. Out of 40,000 crores, 17,000 crores is into PMS, 20,000 crores is into mutual funds, and about 3,000 crores into AIFs and ETFs. So that put together gives you a house which is has a fairly long track record of managing equities and also giving year-on-year consistent returns over a long period of time. By saying that consistent return, I think the only thing that we ensure in our portfolio is that the companies that we hold are continue to bring profitability in the portfolio, and thereby the price automatically gets tracked over a long period of time. When I say that there is skin in the game at the group exposure, what we try to ensure for our investors is that it's not that what we preach we don't practice. Our own promoters' money, our own group money, entire prop book is invested into our own strategies. Out of 40,000 crores, 2,800 crores have been invested by Motilal Oswal Group promoters and companies' money into our strategies. Nothing is invested outside. So that's just to, I think that is the maximum conviction you can give to your investors, that our own money is behaving the same way as your money is behaving in our strategy. That we have a framework which is called QGLP. We have given an acronym which stands for quality, growth, longevity, and price. Consciously, we have kept price at the bottom, because if we don't understand quality, we don't understand growth, we don't understand longevity, there is no there is no meaning of knowing the price of that, because you can't associate the value to it. So we have to pay a price for it, but ultimately we'll pay a price which is in line with the projected earnings or the projected growth of that stock in the long run, and then we sit tight. So this is the mantra for Motilal Oswal: buy right, sit tight. So buy right, in one line I would say, is buying into high quality, high growth companies with visibility of sustained earnings growth and available at a fair price to me. And then only I can sit tight. Sit tight, it means that you hold on to those businesses so that you can actually create wealth over a period of time. Because if you buy right and you don't sit tight, you can't make money in the long run. Because ultimately, unfortunately, you come out at a wrong price or at a wrong time when you are supposed to sit tight on that. But this is very important to understand. We took 60 years to become a $1 trillion economy. If you remember, we obviously, all of us know that we got independence in 1947. We became $1 trillion economy is 2007, after 60 years. But what happened after that? Every next trillion took a lesser time, because we had the base, we had resources, we had the pace of growth was different, the consumption story was different. So every next trillion will take a lesser time. So this is the same thing happened. We took 60 years to become $1 trillion economy, but another 7 years, 8 years to become $2 trillion economy. In 2015, we became $2 trillion economy. So now every trillion will take a lesser time. What will happen with that? So once the pace of growth is there, more and more related companies on the consumption side of the story will track more growth in the long run, and the same thing will be reflected in your portfolios as well. So that's what we try to capture in our portfolios by having more exposure towards consumer side of the story. The graph later, two things which are actually reflecting later, which shows is how the per capita GDP is growing. So this is related to the economy growth only. So about 10 years back, our per capita GDP was $1,000. I was spending $900 for basic needs and $100 towards my discretionary spending. What is discretionary spending? That you spend as per your choice, as per your needs, which is not related to your basic needs. But today we are inching toward $2,000 per capita GDP. What is happening with that? If you think that at 1,000 I was spending $900, so if it becomes 2,000, will I spend double? Can't. Obviously I will not consume twice, or eat twice, or we are too close at a time, or live into two houses. So what will happen is that I'll left with more money for discretionary spending. The traditional data shows is that the moment your per capita GDP becomes double, your discretionary spending becomes 10 times. So that is what the potential of all those things that is available. You will consume more autos, you will consume more white goods, you will consume more, try to take more loans because you have more repaying capacity. So all these things will lead to a lot of growth in all those sectors that we today own in our portfolios. I'll not take much time, just to run through a few of our strategies and how it has done in future. Like, it is very interesting that we named it next $1 trillion opportunity, because this was launched when we touched as a country as a $1 trillion economy. So we deliberately named it that we want to capture onto the next $1 trillion story. So whenever next trillion becomes faster and faster, we'll capture more and more growth in our portfolio. And that has been captured also. Unfortunately, when we started, the very next year market crashed. So if you see in 2008, the portfolio went down by minus 54%. So not many of us have the guts to actually continue when you see minus 54% of the portfolio. But those who actually state what happened in the very next year, 110%. And then its journey grows like that, minus 54, 110, 23, minus 19. This is what long-term investing, equity investing is all about. Long-term equity returns are summation of lot of short-term returns. And these short-term returns could be negative, positive, flattish, no returns, high returns, extraordinary low returns. But we have to live through all those phases to get returns like this. So if you see five-year CAGR return for NTDOP, it is 23%. How it is possible? Because we have lived through all these phases. 10-year returns 26%. The more longer we go, the more CAGR returns we get. Because we are actually, like I say, buy right, sit tight is working when more I am giving time to my portfolio, and that is what is reflecting in the prices as well. The same goes, see. There are some examples which shows that how the portfolio has gone down certain, because this is very normal in an equity investment. That it will go down, it will come back. When it has gone down by 22%, in the very subsequent period it came back by 50%. Minus 15 plus 46. So whenever it has gone down, just see how the recovery has happened. So this is what happens with good quality, high quality, high growth companies, is that every company goes down, because when sentiments are down, everything goes down. But only few good companies come back because they have the potential to come back in terms of the markets give prices to those companies in the long run. And this is what has happened. And this is what I was discussing. We focus on PAT growth or the profit after growth or earnings growth of the companies. So trailing 12 months, 13%. Expected for the next year, 28%. For FY21, 19%. So this is what we target in our portfolios. We want to double the earnings in 3 to 4 years. With a lead and lag effect, anybody who is investing in our portfolios from a 3 to 4 years perspective, or 5 to 6 year perspective, will get the same kind of price growth in their portfolios. This is for India Opportunity Portfolio, which is a small and mid-cap portfolio. The same goes true for this also. Minus 25.36 to 48.5. I mean, calendar-wise return, you can easily see that there are periods of exaggerated return, there are periods of no returns, there are periods of negative returns also. But we have to live through all these phases to get the right returns in the long run. People would say that they have experienced bad phases of returns in IOP, but if you see this chart, you will get to know that how in previous times also it has gone through bad phases, but how it has recovered. From August 2015 to February 2016, in 6-7 months it went down by 21%. In the next 6 months, or you can say 6-7 months, it went up by 64%. Again, during demonetization, it went down by 15%, and how it recovered? 59% in next year. And this has recently happened, it has went down by 29%, but the data after that, it shows that it has recovered 25% after that. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that there would be phases, but once you stick with the right portfolios, right companies, you will make the returns in line with the earnings growth of those companies. These are the PAT growth for IOP. Trailing 12 months, 17%. Next, FY20 expected 25%. FY21 expected 24%. So these are the high quality that we maintain in our portfolios, which is getting reflected in the prices as well, in the long run, obviously. So the only mantra to make returns in equities in the long run is that stay invested with right portfolios, right companies. Don't bother about a lot of short-term movements, because that is not in anybody's control. There are a lot of factors, like Sir has also mentioned that the budget announcements have not gone too well in the right taste with the market, so they have corrected. But over a period of time, they will understand is that whatever has a long-term impact will ultimately get the right price in the long run. See, this is what happened with IOP. Price kept on correcting in last 2 years, but what has happened to the earnings growth? 26, 24, 34, 32, 41. Quarter on quarter, earnings growth kept on building. And that is what happens, that when earnings growth keeps on building and price doesn't capture in the portfolio's returns, there would be a phase that would be a strong recovery that I have shown in the previous slides, that how this one, which you can easily relate. When 21% down, in the very subsequent phase, there is a huge upswing of 64%. This is what is getting reflected in today. There is a huge correction we have experienced. Now there is a phase where is a strong recovery that has started happening now. Similar for NTDOP. Same PAT growth, not that great price growth. So I leave this particular thought before closing comments from my side, that be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. This is a quote given by one of the most renowned investors, Warren Buffett, and he has, I think, if anybody has to follow any investing ideas or any the proper way of doing long-term investing, and he is the person to follow. So he has always said that go for the right businesses, don't chase the prices, price will take care of it automatically in the long run with right businesses. So with this, I close my remarks. Thank you so much for your patient listening. It's been an honor to be here. And any questions, I would more than willing to take it. So thank you so much, everyone. Pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. It's my due honor to propose the vote of thanks for today's IMA program. At the very outset, we had a great experience of listening to our chartered accountant, Chandramohan KY, who gave such a wonderful talk and so nicely and briefly summarized the whole budget to us. And we are much more wiser. We all thought we are very smart doctors. We are good with our investments. Most of the time we are just lucky with that. And thank you, sir, for being part of today's evening. I thank all the dignitaries who are on the stage, chaired by our President Sachidanand Rai, Secretary Sudhindra for his excellent report, Prashant for introducing the chief guest, and Vinay for the prayer. I thank all the members for being part of tonight's program. I also thank the Motilal Oswal Group and Mr. Harikesh Pandey and Mr. Vijay for being part of this program. And I thank the IMA Trust for providing us with this venue, and I thank the caterers for providing the dinner after this program. Thank you one and all.